Hello again, I'm Blunty, and today I'm having a prod around a poke-worthy iPad program called iStopMotion. The name's a bit of a giveaway. It's designed to help you create stop-motion animations. When you first install it, it comes with a cute little movie that quickly leads you through the function and operation of the software in a way that only the most severe of head injuries would stop you from easily comprehending. Although, frankly, the stop-motion animation used to help demonstrate the program is a bit, well, shit. You'd have thought it'd be much slicker to show off the program, but then again, maybe they just wanted to set the bar low so newbies aren't intimidated and put off when their attempts don't look as slick. Well, either way, it serves its purpose well. The interface is clean and efficient. It's free of clutter and gives you a nice, big, clear camera view of your stage. When setting up your shot, you can adjust your exposure by dragging a little iris target where you want to meter from, and you can also lock the focus in the same way, or at least you could, except the iPad 2 doesn't have an autofocus camera, so we'll come back to that button in just a moment. The basic operation is very straightforward. One button to take a frame, another button to play back and review what you've got so far. From here on in, you can start building your animation timeline frame by frame, displayed in a nice little ribbon at the bottom of the screen. You can also scrub back and forth through this ribbon to review, and you can delete individual frames if you screw up somewhere. Now, we all know the cameras built into the iPad 2 aren't exactly jaw-droppingly impressive. In fact, in many conditions, they're downright crappy. So aside from the, let's be kind and call it adequate image quality, and not being able to manually focus, the sheer size of the iPad will severely limit you when it comes to setting up shots and creating interesting camera angles, and having to touch the device to take a shot can also increase the risk you'll bump your camera out of alignment, leading to jittery, earthquake-looking footage. Fortunately, Bonix, the folks behind this app, have been behind one of the most popular stop-motion programs on the Mac for a big fistful of years, so they're not noobs when it comes to this stuff and have come up with a way for you to use an external camera with this app. They have a free companion app that will let iStopMotion wirelessly connect to and control the camera in your iPhone, which again, as we all know, has a bloody fantastic camera in it, and one that can autofocus, and in a small enough package to unleash all manner of possibilities of positioning to set up your shots exactly how you want. Connection is as simple as a couple of predictable prods, and from here on in you can remotely set and lock focus and exposure and capture your frames as it squirts the images across your Wi-Fi network. You may have also noticed that there's a semi-transparent overlay of the previous frame. In animation parlance, this is called onion skinning, and is wildly helpful for quickly being able to see how far you've moved your stuff from frame to frame, but also for realigning your puppets or set should you accidentally bump something out of place. In the options, you have the ability to switch this to only show live view, only show the last frame, or back to the default onion skinning mode. You can also adjust the frame rate you're capturing at should you want to. 12 frames per second is the default here, and is usually considered a happy medium between how much work each second of animation takes and how smooth it looks. You can overlay grid lines to help you with shot composition, and you can force review playback at half speed for more careful reviewing. At any time, you can switch which camera you're using, or you can adjust your focus and exposure settings. Very useful if you're switching focus between characters, have camera moves, or are just moving your camera to a different shot, all of which will often require refocusing and new exposure metering. And if you're just finding your way around the app, a tap on a help icon will bring up some helpful tooltips to remind you what does what. When it comes time to export your creations, iStopMotion works in the same way a number of other camera apps work. Tap to export, and you get a choice of saving to your camera roll, emailing a video clip, or even directly uploading to YouTube. You can export in a number of resolutions depending on what you're doing with the clip, capping out at a top end of 720p. Obviously, smaller resolutions equal small file size, which are easier to email or upload, but your quality will suffer. And while you can also add a soundtrack from here from your music library after you're done animating and before exporting, sadly there's no ability to animate directly to a soundtrack. So if you want to time specific actions to a soundtrack, lip sync dialogue, or perhaps make your puppet dance to the beat of some music, you're going to have to do some math and take notes to work out at what frame your actions need to start and stop. As I mentioned before, you can delete any frames you like, but you can't copy, paste, or move frames around in the timeline, which in more powerful desktop animation software can often be a very handy and time-saving thing for certain types of shots. But you know, this app costs about as much as a lunch at McDonald's, so I really can't fault it too much for the lack of a few more advanced features found in much more expensive custom stop-motion software for the desktop. What iStopMotion delivers is a very clean, well-designed, easy-to-use and well-featured app. It is easily leaps and bounds above other similar apps I've come across, and the ability to remotely connect to and use the cameras on an iPhone 4, an iPhone 4S, a 4th gen iPod Touch, or even a second iPad 2 is brilliant. And it is this function alone which brings iStopMotion forward from being simply an interesting and well-designed toy to something much more usable and much more powerful for creating great looking animations. If you're a regular watcher, you'll know I don't often do iPad or iPhone app reviews these days, for a few reasons, but one of which is because there's about a bajillion of them and most of them are crap, so I focus my attentions elsewhere. So it's fair to say that when I do find one that impresses me enough to produce a review, it's something that really stands out, and iStopMotion stands out in a superb way. I'm Blunty, thanks for watching, and I'll leave you with a look at a couple of quick animations I made while capturing the footage for this review. One using the iPad's rear camera and the other one with the iPhone 4S. I'll catch you next time.